as professional jiu-jitsu grew and as that started to become a real thing, and like all of us were, you know, trying to make a career and money and gaining notoriety and all these things from competing in professional jiu-jitsu, I think it made John go, oh, okay, there's something here. This is worth pursuing. This is worth making sure that, you know, these guys are the best in the world at this thing. You know, it's not just like a game anymore. Like this is becoming something. It is growing. It is going to be something one day. These guys that are in this room are going to be something one day. So there started to be more attention to the jiu-jitsu in the room. It started to become a situation where all John's afternoon classes, with the exception of Monday, were in the gi. And slowly we made it so that he would teach in the gi and teach no gi to us. So it became a situation where it's very clear, you know, he's giving us some level of special attention because, you know, we're showing up and we're not even wearing the uniform that we're supposed to in class. Right. So that happened. The positional training kind of started to come into play a little bit later. I would say the first time we started to do more positional training was when the EBI stuff started to crank out, because we would have these things like armbar rounds and back rounds and stuff that became very prevalent in the EBI scene. Because, you know, if you went to overtime, you would have to be on somebody's back. Somebody would have to be on your back, or potentially an armbar. So that was like the first introduction, I think, to, hey, we got to add some positional training in. And as we started to experiment it with that, we started to realize, like, me personally, I feel like I take a high degree of responsibility in getting good at like all the positions, like even bad ones. Like I let people mount me in training and shit. I let people put me in bad spots. But the reality is most people don't do that. And it's not even really necessarily their fault all the time. It's just like a mentality thing. Some people are hyper competitive. For example, Eddie's so hyper competitive. I don't know if he still is to this day, but I doubt he's changed. There's no chance he's letting you mount him in training. That's not fucking happening. He would never let that happen. Eddie wouldn't let you have a fucking inch. Okay. Are you kidding me? Mount? Absolutely not. So what we started to realize is that was a valuable addition to the whole room, starting in different positions, because some people in the room were so hyper competitive that they would never be in those positions and never practice them. So when we got to regular competition, people weren't ready. I mean, they weren't ready for those bad positions, and bad things would result. So we realized that was important. And then kind of as we moved along, we started paying more attention to the standing position. I would say over the past year or two, we've paid a lot more attention to that. And you've seen a lot of our athletes do a hell of a lot better in the standing position. We started basically making class half standing position, half ground. And there's like a distinct cutoff between the two. And John's been spending a lot more time in the standing position. So that's been added to our training. And we even, for a period of time, we're adding wrestling scrimmage rounds in. And I think we still do when as like ADCC and events like that get closer. So, man, the training room is so dynamic. It's changed a lot over the years. And it really had depended upon the needs of the group, but also kind of like the rule sets that we were competing in, and also, you know, maybe if John saw some deficiencies and things. So it's hard to pin down to tell you like what I think is exactly the recipe for success in terms of the training environment. I think that the big key for us was innovating over time. I think that had we stayed the same from the beginning and stuck to whatever formula we had, it wouldn't have benefited us in the future. So yeah, man, it's been a hell of a time, man. We've gone through a lot.
Well, I think one of the things that's important that you brought out is it's always evolving, right? It's always evolving based on the situation that's there, whether, like you said, it's a new rule set, whether it's, you know, different types of tournaments you're training for, whatever it is, just deficiencies. If it's not evolving, it's going to become, you know, stagnant. So that becomes really important.